situation with Cambodia explodes. A new imperial government has seized power, massing 400,000 troops on the Thai-Cambodia border, ready to attack. This new government is far more competent at war. If you like this escalation, please join us and subscribe to show your support. With them having two plans. Plan 1, move to the capital across sea. Plan 2, come in from the north. So let's see how their war plan works. Let's see. Does it work? Does it not? Does it so? Does it yes? Why are they invading like that? I guess I probably played too much Hearts of Iron 4. Hey, stop looking at me. Map. With them moving across the coast like this, with the goal of capturing the capital. And they come in like this. As these two fronts meet and they move in and take Cambodia's capital. But this big war leading to full annexation. Yes, full annexation. And well, we're about to witness the war of expansion. And well, create a layer, which is what I need to do. And let's bring this back to a much smaller size. With them now marching into the war of expansion, which has the front like this. They have a big front to deal with. You might be asking, how do they plan to succeed? Well, their plan is to march in towards both capitals, like this, and then march along the coast here, with them planning to march into the capital, encircling it whilst they advance into this area. Whilst they also plan to move into this area, and this front line to take this area, including the capital, with them splitting it to be this, in the capital area. Then they'll capture this area, see, this area first. Then they move into this area, and for Myanmar, they move up here, and then up to there, to seize control. Let's see how it goes, with the Thai War of Expansion in action now. Let's do it exactly how it's described as. Well, rapidly in the first phase of the operation has broken out, with rapid seizures of land. Rapidly moving in, they move in, quickly take the capital of Laos, quickly move in and take Myanmar's capital, whilst at the same time they take out Myanmar's panhandle, quickly allowing in phase 1 as Myanmar is quickly pushed back to here. But with Laos, they're completely pushed out of the south, thus leading close to their collapse. And while Laos collapses, well, at this point, then to phase 2, Myanmar surrenders. So let's see the peace treaty. And you might be asking, what nations are it? China, Oops, that's not a good way. Let's get to the proper one. China, Vietnam, Malaysia. 3 nations, 3-nation alliance. And well, Singapore gets dragged into it. And you might be asking, what is so crazy about this? Well, China joins forces with Vietnam and Malaysia because they do not want Thailand to take its place and become a challenge in the South China Sea or Asia. They create a coalition, raise 750,000 troops to the challenge. Thailand, 600,000 troops. But yet, when people fight onions, they care. Just because the smaller and weaker is meaningless. As onions release gases, the look of Thailand is like a domestic cat but they march like lions. So let's see China's plan. Also, yeah, before we get into this, let's get China's plan. And let's just draw out the entire front line. Just the entire front line. And it's something like this. With China planning to send Vietnam in to move towards here with their troops and move in towards this city. Thus, Vietnam will capture these two areas. And then from the north, China will move in here and here. In stage 1, they'll quickly seize this. Meanwhile, Malaysia comes in from the south and seizes this. And meanwhile, in the last stage, Everite converges in on the capital of Thailand. Meanwhile, Thailand's plan, on the other hand, is much more straightforward. I'm saying that might not be true. And while Thailand, they expect, this is a blue line where they expect the forces to get to in the early days of the war. They expect something like this to be the front line. And what they'll do is they'll quickly, not Vietnam, quickly first, they'll go against Malaysia, taking Malaysia and Singapore out. Thus, this area of Malaysia leaves the war, surrendering. Thus, they also push back in this direction towards Ho Chi Minh City, this one towards Hanoi, and this one to cut Vietnam in the middle. Thus, taking Vietnam out of the war. And then they plan to push China out of Myanmar, push China back here. Then from Vietnam, push them into the coast. And they plan to seize this area, as you can see, a pretty big area. They believe China will back down, and then they win. So let's see how the war goes in the early days. And there's a reason I'm leaving it light blue, but that's the first coalition war has broken out. Because, well, what's the point not calling it a coalition? That's what it is. With China expecting an easy victory and 2 weeks to take over. But, yeah, is that really what you get, China? I don't know, I'm just commenting. Just kidding. But from the south, they move up into the Panhandle, but they get stuck there. From here, Vietnam quickly manages to capture that city and this city. Quickly after, they get stuck, with China trying to start a frontier, but they also get stuck. And then in the Myanmar, they struggle. With Thailand acting on its first plan, the push out of Malaysia from the war, which they act on. Now, the first part of their plan going to success, and Malaysia leaves the war, that wasn't the total success they wanted. As in the north, China and Vietnam managed to launch a big offensive, getting to here, advancing to here, and then there, and then deep into Malaysia, with Vietnam coming up with a new plan, which became very successful, push across the coast. And thus they take advantage of the situation to march in and take Ho Chi Minh City and move up into Vietnam. Thus, Vietnam starts having to withdraw forces to hold their country, with this managing to become Vietnam's front, with the second phase of the Vietnam offensive beginning, which quickly seizes most of the country. But Chinese forces, well, they keep advancing. This is not going well for Thailand. They need a hero. And while one of the generals decides to land in China instead of there, the Thai government's shocked. But they land here and they start moving into China. China fails to repel a big victory, as these forces then march up into here, pushing forces out of Laos, and starting their offensive into Myanmar as China gets broken by this big encirclement. And while to try to get Vietnam out of the war, they launch an offensive here. And well, as this becomes the front line and they demand peace, China also demands peace. But you know, it works out in the end. Let's see how the peace. Vietnam, Malaysia's part that's within a peninsula, but the island part of Malaysia, which isn't truly an island. A part of an island is left free. Singapore is annexed. All Vietnam parts of China, and then an occupation zone on the south coast of China is made. And you might think that's not that much loss for China, but it kind of is. Those are a lot of ports, I can tell you that. And well, as Thailand has secured its place as Asia's giant elephant by using crow-like vantage points, cheetah-like speed, wolf-like determination. They are the third strongest nation and have a dominant navy. They now march like lions and fly like eagles. Well, please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell to get future updates. And comment your thoughts and theories, as your input means a lot. Also, click on one of my videos and wild map her out, and on to subscribe. Bye, guys!